Hey guys, in today's video I am going to be installing a Nature's Head composting toilet. I'm doing this to, well, for one, we're wanting to get into boondocking at some point, so I know, this will help with that, with water usage and so forth. But I also wanted to do it just because I want to be able to convert my current black tank into a gray tank just with the little end connector valve. I've got that on order, and hopefully it'll be here by the time I'm finished with this video, and I'll be able to show you that piece too, to show you kind of what I'm talking about. But with the composting toilet, even staying at campgrounds, I think it's going to be a lot better. And I know it don't sound like it would be cleaner, but everything I've seen, it will be cleaner. And also, I think it's just a better setup. You're using less water. Pretty much you mix up either your peat moss or your cocoa core, and from there I think you got to do it about every 2 to 3 weeks. At least from what I've seen on the internet. I've never used anything like this before, but this will be a first. But I am looking forward to it, and I just think overall the whole process will be better. I've watched several videos on it and all the reviews and so forth, and everything I have seen says that this is just a better setup, better way to go. So I'm gonna give it a shot and see what I think myself. Also in this video, I do want to give a shout out to Fate Unbound. I watched David install his through the video, and he done an excellent job showing that. And I'm kind of using that knowledge to hopefully do this one. David is obviously, he's a lot more skilled than I am. He apparently has some mad skills from some of the stuff I've seen him do. He is very impressive. But with that, like I say, it's RV, people helping RV people. So I appreciate that. I appreciate what information from all the different videos I've watched. But I did end up going with the Nature's Head. Went with it just because, I got a good deal on it. Going with the Waynes, I hope I'm saying that correctly, but their channel has a discount for the Nature's Head toilet, so that's why I went with that one. Got a little bit better deal on it. But I think there's a few that I reviewed, and all of them look pretty good. This one, just like I say, a lot of people's going to it. I know I knew a lot about it. A lot of the installs for the videos I've seen directly were on this one. So for me, it just made sense to go with this one. There's really no right or wrong choice in it, I don't think. Just do your research and review it. But with all that said, I will show the Nature's Head toilet, show the one piece that I've seen from the Fate Unbound video, and show why I'm very appreciative of that and getting that knowledge before I get into this. So with that, I will show you the toilet, show you the piece that I cut out and what I plan to do with it, and we will start this install. So here's the system that we bought. We bought the Nature's Head with the crank handle versus the spider handle. And the only reason I did that is I've heard some people have had trouble being able to turn the spider handle both forwards and backwards. I don't know if that's true or not, but just some of the videos I've seen people having some issue with it. So I went ahead and got the crank handle. I really don't know if it makes a difference or not. And of course you got your liquids container here. I did buy the extra liquids container. Just, I don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll see. I figured it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And then obviously, so this is the board that I was talking about. And if you watch the Fate Unbound video, and I will link to that below, since I will probably talk about it some in this one, just to give them their due credit and their thanks for what they did. But that is basically to set on the bottom of the toilet here. And what that does is there's a flange in the floor, and just cut the little circle out in this board, and it enables you to have this unit setting flush on the floor without having to dig out that flange and try to get all that removed. If you ever sell your RV or something, I'm planning on putting this in, if I get another one ever, then I would put this one in the new RV, and I would just use the other one to replace the one in this one now. So, the flange could come back in handy. But, like I say, it's a general toilet. It's just got the spider handle. Opens up. I have thought about adding some padding around here just to make it a little bit better for, somebody like me, just because I want to be more comfortable when I'm on the toilet. But here you've got the pee holes up front, so this is where all your liquids are going to go. And something that I did notice that I haven't seen in a lot of videos, and I'll turn on a headlight here. Here we go. Something I'd always worry about. So obviously you got your number 2 area here, and you got all your, you know, this is the inside of it. But I had always wondered, well, this is closed, you know, what if you do get some liquids back here or whatever? But there is actually a little slip right here in this that flows right back into this and will go into the liquids tank. So even if you miss some, you know, it's not going to be a problem. The one thing that, you know, I have been told is, you know, for guys, hey, you know, you better drop your manhood there and learn to sit on a toilet. And, you know, so what? If it makes the overall experience better, you know, I don't care. That's just me. So, you know, I've always been a standard, but hey, I can learn to be a sitter. But, you know, it's like any other one. You undo the latches here, and that's what pops the lid off. I'll do this side as well. If I do it from the right side. And then that just lifts up the whole unit. And I'm sorry, I'm doing this one-handed, so I'm probably going to mess up here a little bit. But so now I have the system open. And this is kind of where everything goes. And, you know, of course, with the crank handle, this right here is going to move back and forth. But you see all my paperwork and stuff, my hookup wires, they send you this little bottle here to put vinegar and water mix in to kind of, you can neutralize the urine smell if it got bad or something like that. Here's my vent hose. Here's the vent hose hookup for outside. And then there is the electrical wire, some of it. And there's another piece. And here's the other piece of electrical wire. So this is what wires into the actual toilet for the fan. And they say with the vent fan that the smell is actually better than most home toilets. So, but you know, that's pretty much all there is to it. So the next steps are going to be, and I will close this back up. Won't lock it back down or anything. But the next steps are going to be in the bathroom. And so I will now be removing this toilet, which is just a standard toilet that came with it. And all I will be doing to remove that is there is a screw here, if I can get the camera to show it. There we go. So this right here, I just have to pop that off, and there's a bolt there. It's just a wrench bolt. I'll just pop it off. And then there is another one back here on this side. And I'm sorry I can't get it zeroed in there to get on it, but it is back in this area. There we go. So now you can see it. It is back in this area right here. So I just pop that one off, and essentially the toilet will be ready to come up, and then I just have to drop the plug in, and you can get the plug at like Lowe's or anywhere like that, or you can get it off the internet. This one's a 3-inch plug. At least I'm hoping it is. That's what I bought. That is my understanding. Okay, so to get this off, I'm going to pop this little cap off, which is easy. I'm using just a wrench and a number 13 metric socket. I'm going to hope I can pop this in here. And then just, not much to it. Unbolt this. That's got that side done. Pop off my little flange. And for the back side, since this is a pretty tight area, I'm going to have to find me a number 13 wrench to use. I cannot fit this in here. So that will be the next step, and then I will pull up the toilet and I will show you what it looks like. Alright, so I ended up finding me just a little 13 wrench. Actually, I think it's a 1/2 inch, which is just, I guess, close enough to the American side. So I'm going to undo this. It's coming. Put my wrench back there. And there's the last screw. And that should have this toilet ready to come out. I hope. Oh, and you do have a water line back here. There could be some water in this. And there is. So I'll have to clean that up. But that has the toilet completely out and removed. I'm going to take this on outside and get it set out of the way. Get me a little towel here and clean up my mess. Now, just remove these 2 screws. Clean up my water mess. So here's where you got your little lip, if you can see. So this is just a flange. And I could quickly unscrew this and it wouldn't be a problem. But I want to plug this off right. So I'm going to go in here and get the plug. So here's the little 3-inch plug that I'm hoping is the right one. And it is. So then I just start turning this. And now I feel the plug getting tighter. Put some water around here. Don't want to leave any water in the floor. I'm sure everybody knows water and RVs don't mix well. So make sure I get this good and tight and have a good seal around it. So my understanding is on these you're supposed to get them more or less hand tight, and I'm sorry for the AC kicking on there, but my next step will be to take my board, and I think I've got a little bit of a rise up here, so I might have to trim this off a little bit, kind of get it to where the board will, I'm going to cut the circle out around this, and then from there I will be able to, I'm going to drill this out right here. I'm going to plug this off fully, and then I am going to run my vent line back out this water line here after I've got this tied off, and that will pretty much be it. So I'll get the board cut for this, set it around, and I will show you what that looks like. Okay guys, I'm back here. It's been a couple of days since I've been able to get out here on this project after getting it started, but something I did want to show you was the little test plug here. What I ended up doing on it was I went back and I got a 1-inch bolt to put through here. I think it comes with a 2-inch standard, and then I just got a nut that would work with this bolt. And the reason that I did that was this butterfly nut that was on here and the bolt itself were actually sticking above the flange. So I did that in order to more or less get us below. And as you can tell, I did get that inside circle cut out of my board. Again, it's not perfect, don't really have to be. I give credit to my buddy John Copenhaver. That's my best buddy. He helped me with that one, so he's a lot better at cutting this stuff than I am. So I don't want to take credit for something I didn't do. But now essentially I've got this board in here. If you look on the side here, I've actually marked it with a pencil, and that is where I am going to put the center of my first little tab that ties down the composting toilet to the board. And then also I've got to put some screws in around this. But before I put this down solid, I wanted to get this part lined up correct. And also, if you see here, I do now have this kind of tied off, but I've had some second thoughts about that, and what I think I may end up doing is put a cutoff valve here and then cap off the cutoff valve just for a second safety measure. But anytime I wanted to clean out this tank, I could easily just pull this up here, uncap it, and turn on that valve, and I'd have water here to clean this out. So that's kind of my thought. I mean, then also too, when we get ready to trade it in or whatever, you know, whenever down the road we do that, when I want to switch these out to put it in my new RV, then I would easily be able to take the toilet out of the new RV, put it back in here, and plug this back into it and take my composting toilet back to my side with me. So that's kind of some of my thoughts on some of that. But, you know, with all that said, my next step is, like I say, I'm going to put on these little hinges to these marks, and I'm going to take a level and lay it across it just to make sure I get the second one lined up in the same spot. So there'll be one on this side, and then this I'm going to come back to, and I will show you where I'm planning on doing my power source to here in the next few clips.
And then also I'm thinking for my ventilation, I might actually just run it through the wall here instead of running it down. I had originally thought I was going to push this back down underground, but then the thought occurred, well, if it starts leaking and it's down under and I can't see it, I'm never really going to know until it does some damage or something like that, so I didn't want to chance it. That's another reason why I'm thinking I'm going to leave this up here so I can always have a, an eye on it, and if I start seeing water, I know I've got to fix that. But that's where I'm at. So I'm going to get these hinges on here, set this back in here with the toilet on it, see what it looks like. And then from there, I will go ahead and get this thing screwed down solid. And then I will have to do the vent, and I will have to run the power, and I'll show you how I'm going to do all that. And then that should have her done. Hopefully, I'm hoping within an hour or two to have this completely installed and over with now that I've got a chance to work on it again. All right, I will get this put on and catch you back in a minute. Okay, so now I have my brackets in, as you can see here and here. I have tested them with the toilet in here, and they appear to be good to go. So essentially, I will say, and I did have to drill a couple of extra holes back here. I needed to move it up a little bit, so I'm in a real tight spot here, and essentially I needed to get enough clearance to be able to lift the toilet back to remove the lids or the liquids containers each time I needed to. And essentially, there's no way that I could clean it out in here if I wanted to, but there's no way that I want to. So my goal is I'm just going to unscrew the two little side pieces here each time, and from there I will just take it outside and clean it there, which to me sounds a whole lot better than doing it inside the RV anyway. But what I am going to do, since I've already got some pre-drilled screws back here, or screw holes back here, I'm going to go ahead and use some screws. And what I've got is about 1-inch screws that I'm just going to run down into this. And I have tried to go underneath and trace this out as much as I can. I don't think I'm going to hit anything, so it's always a risk, obviously. So there's the first screw in, and I will do this across here just to get this thing down solid. And I don't think it's going to take too many screws to get this in here real solid, so I'm not going to overdo it by any stretch. Just to minimize that risk of hitting something. So I figure a couple in the back here and a couple up front, and we should be good to go. And I probably should have done a pilot hole there, but these are a pretty good boring screws, so but I do want to make sure that my screws are flush, or actually just down a little bit, because I do not want the toilet to actually touch the screw. So it is in there pretty good and solid. Now I'm going to do one more screw. Now that is good. So sorry I'm sweating here. It's very hot here. It's about 95, and my air conditioner in here is having a hard time keeping up. I was only able to get one screw in here. The other screw was over the flange. I guess I could slide a screw in there if I really wanted to, but it don't seem that important. It's not going to hurt anything, and it gives me flexibility to move this if I ever needed to work in here, so that works out fine. But this solids up the platform really good. So at this point, I will set the toilet back in, show you what that looks like. So that's it, the toilet's back in. Then I just screw in this little side flange that I was talking about. I guess I got to get it straight. And on mine, for whatever reason, where it's setting on the the metal pieces there. It was kind of off a little bit, but not enough that I think it's going to hurt anything. So I screw in that side. I come over to my left side, and I will tell you, this is a whole lot easier now that this is solid. So now it's in, everything's good and solid. And what I was talking about, so as you see, I'm going to move the camera just a little bit. Now I've got plenty of clearance for the lid, which was the first goal. And then the second goal, I'll make sure that you can see this. Let me tilt the camera up just a little bit. So the second goal is when I release these flaps, and now I'm going to have to move this flap over right here just a little bit. I've noticed this is off just barely. So, but my other goal was I need to be able to move the toilet back like that to pull this out when we need to empty it. Now I'm good to go there. And like I say, you know, I couldn't open it up enough to clean it in here, but for me that's not an issue because I plan on, and I will scroll this back down. So I do just plan on taking these off and actually taking the whole unit out to do all my cleaning. I just think that's more sanitary in my opinion. I'm sure people do it both ways, and you know, for me, I just think this is the better way to go. So my next steps will be, I'm going to pull this camera up. I have to get electricity to this. So I've got a plug here, but this isn't going to work because it's on the 110 and not the 12 volt. But there is a fan here. So what I think I'm going to do is pull this garnishing down, and I'm going to run my power up to here and actually tap into this. And by doing that, and I know there's a little bit of glare there, I'm going to close this down, that may help. But by tapping into this, that's going to give me a 12 volt source, and that way this thing can constantly be running, which is my goal in the end. And I'm sorry for the camera movement there, I'm just holding this tripod in my hand. But by being able to connect to that, then that should help me solve the issue of my power source. And then the last thing I've got to figure out is how I want to vent this, which I think I'm just going to take it straight through here. If I can get the camera down here to it, I'm just going to take it straight through the wall and just onto the outside, right on the other side, and it should not be a problem. So I am going to look at running this power thing. I've got to drill some holes through here, and then I will show you what I did. All right, see you in a few minutes. Okay, so now I've got my power source, so I've got this to where it will plug in over there. I've just got to pull the wire back a little bit more. But as you can see, if you trace it up, it goes up into the cabinet, through the cabinet, and then up to the next level. And I did get lucky at the top here. So they already had the power running. I'm trying to get back here to show it to you. But they already had the power running through here for the fan itself. So I used that same additional hole so I didn't have to have a lead out hole here. And it just runs straight up underneath and then comes straight out to the fan. So that way it looks a lot cleaner. And then down here, I'm actually going to put some wire ties, and I'll kind of clean all this up, make it look a little bit better, more solid in there. But now back up here, I had to add an additional, little bit of additional line to get the length to get it to plug in. And then I'm going to tie in here. But my problem is I do not have a tester to see which one of these is positive and negative, and the colors don't match up with what I'm used to seeing. So I'm going to have to pick up on this tomorrow, and I've got my father coming over with a tester, and he should be able to tell me which is which, and I can hook in, and then I'll have my power. And then the last step, and what I've decided to do for sure now, and you can actually see the vent hose here. And here is the inside of it. I am just going to run this straight through the wall right here like this, and that'll have that taken care of, and then I'll have everything done. So overall time this install so far has taken me just a couple of hours, so that part's not been that bad. It's just been kind of running into tools that I don't have that's been the problem, or just knowledge that I don't have that's been the problem. So you know, if you're more knowledgeable than I am, then you'll probably get this done a whole lot quicker. But I just wanted to share that out, and I will pick back up on this in the morning, and I will get this video out as soon as possible just to show the rest of the steps. Okay guys, so I wanted to show you this last little part here. As you can see, the big thing is we now have our vent source, which is here. That's actually got a little bit of tape around it right now because I'm waiting for the glue behind that to completely seal. But all I got to do is put a little vent cover on the outside, and then I'll have a place to hook my pipe to and be good to go, or I should say my little flex hose to. So the flex will come out here, which right now the motor is running, and I'll show you how I got the power to this, and then it'll just hook into here. So, you know, pretty straightforward, easy connection. I might try to end up finding a little shorter hose later on, just so I don't have to have all that hose back here. But either way, if you follow the line up as I showed previously, it goes up and under, and it goes into the cabinet here, and then you come into the cabinet and you keep following it up. And then what I found was just this little hole that was already here to tap into. So I ran the line straight out through the ceiling, and then it had a little hole here where it comes out, and then I tapped into this fan's 12 volt power. So now I've got a constant power source whether I'm on or off shore power. So that was kind of my goal, what I wanted to do. And as stated, I now have my vent line. On the outside of this, more or less, I'm going to run to Lowe's and get me like a little vent to just glue to the side of the RV outside. And I will walk you out and show you that where I put the hole through. But it was fairly easy to drill. I used a 1.5 inch hole saw to do that, just in my drill. So it was very, very easy to do. I went straight through without any problem, actually. But pretty much that is it. So now, you know, I've just got, like I say, my hose is over here. You see my tripod too. But, you know, as soon as this hardens up, I just got to hook that together, and I am good to go at that point. And my composting toilet is now in place. It was shaking just a little bit. It was kind of rocking, and just, you know, for anybody this may help, these screws where this goes in down here, where the holes weren't lining up very well. So all I did was I took my drill and just kind of dug the hole down a little bit on the bracket, and now as you can see the rocking is completely gone. So got that took care of. And as you see over here, here's my little crank handle, and I don't have anything in here yet, but you know, it's pretty close. You can see where the things turn and so forth. So, but everything looks like a good fit, and I think that's got her done. I will walk outside and show you the hole I got to cover up with a little outside vent, but other than that, I think this install is complete. And we will finish up with just, I'll finish up with a little bit of information at the end. So we will move on to the next part. So here's the holes that came through on the outside, which you can see pretty much all that's in these is a little bit of foam insulation and some thin wood on each side in between. But that goes right back into the ventilation place that we set up. Fairly, like I say, fairly simple to do. And now all I've got to do is get a cover to go over this, and to kind of, I'm hoping to get something with a screen in it so it'll keep bugs or anything else from climbing back through the vent hose. But other than that, and I'm going to glue this on. So that is something else I wanted to state. I am going to glue that on, trying to avoid, you know, putting more screws in than I have to. But, you know, other than that, that's about it. I was really nervous about drilling into the side of the RV, but, you know, like I say, nothing to it. And as long as you seal it up good and right, you should be in good shape. I'll probably, but once I get it glued down, I might even take a little bit of Dicor or something and put it around it just to make sure that it is a good seal, and we never have any trouble with water getting in there. So, but that's about it. So I will follow up with the last few statements, and we will call this video a wrap, and hopefully this helps people out. But this, to me, was a successful install. Okay guys, so now I'm back inside. I've pretty much wrapped up everything, got everything cleaned up in there. So overall, I just wanted to say, you know, I do think this was a successful install. I'm very proud of it because I did not know if I could do something like this, tackling it. And it's funny, as I get more into this RV stuff, the kind of stuff I see I can tackle.
But overall, like I say, if you have any questions on the install, please comment below. I will try to help you out as much as I can. And I ask, if you like this channel, you like what we're bringing to you, please subscribe. Still trying to build it out. Give it a thumbs up. Ring the bell to get notifications of the new videos. This channel's growing pretty good, starting to come together. I'm going to release a video about that probably later this week. But the composting tool is now in. I'm very happy with it. It seems like it's going to work pretty good. After we use it for a few months, I will probably follow up with a review on it just to kind of cover, the good and the bad of it. But everything I've heard so far is it's really good. But again, if you have any questions or, if you see anything in this video maybe I didn't show well or didn't explain well, then please feel free to ask and I will help all that I can. I also wanted to give a special thanks out to my dad. He helped me hook up the electrical. That's something I don't have a lot of knowledge on. And I also wanted to give a shout out to my best buddy, John Copenhaver, for helping me cut the board. Again, it's a couple of things that I'm just not very knowledgeable on. But the overall install for this, just from start time to end time of actual working on it, took about 2.5 to 3 hours. So not too bad. Probably could have done it quicker if I knew what I was doing, but since I'm kind of learning as I go, it took a little bit longer. But again, any questions, let me know. Again, I ask that you please subscribe to help me build this out, and I appreciate everybody's time, and I hope this helps somebody with their install. Thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you later.